Alright, more woody fragrances for you, but this time woody leather fragrances. Are you curious to find out about them? Stick around and you'll hear about 13 woody leather fragrances coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. Are you enjoying the woody fragrance videos? I've done 2 so far. This is number 3. There's probably going to be 2 more at least. And I'm trying to spread them out as much as I can. I'm doing this because a lot of you asked me that I haven't done or updated my woody fragrances videos. I'm also kind of learning about woody fragrances as well because I've been bored of them. So I've been testing them out and seeing what they're all about. So I've done a basic woody fragrances video almost a month ago. Then I did a woody amber fragrances video. And so this is a very popular category. I didn't realize there was a lot of different fragrances in this particular category. Of course, I'm leaving these lists mostly for niche fragrances. I do have one designer this time. I'm sneaking it in. It's one of my all-time favorite fragrances. Maybe you already know what I'm talking about. Most of the fragrances are niche, smaller houses, lesser known fragrances, and some new discoveries that I have actually, snuck into this list. So as I said, I've got 13 fragrances to talk to you about today, all woody leather fragrances. Let's go to a house called Aura of Kazakhstan with a fragrance called Black Gold. Here it is. What are your thoughts on this bottle? So this is a brand I discovered late last year at Pitti Fragranza, and they had a fragrance called Black Gold, which this is it. Black Gold smells like oil. Well, basically, it's a reinterpreted way of smelling black gold, oil. So it features notes of leather, vetiver, galbanum, cedar, rum accord, and cumin. So for me, this is mostly about the leather, the vetiver, galbanum, and cedar. The rum accord and the cumin comes in just to give you some accentuations, but it's quite dark, smoky, bitter, a bit green, and very, very leathery and woody. It's really kind of an acquired taste, but also a little daring, so you have to be into this kind of a fragrance. It's extremely leathery, a bit animalic in the end, but combining a lot of masculine notes. It's an uber masculine fragrance, and the idea of the oil, black gold, comes to mind. It does have that kind of effect when you're wearing it, especially after it dries down on skin. The cumin does show up if you're really sensitive to it. You might experience the cumin a lot more than I do. It's there, but I wouldn't call this a cumin bomb. Mostly about the idea of lots of woods, lots of leather, with some green bitterness thrown in. Anyway, really awesome stuff. It's a bit challenging to wear, and it's not the kind of fragrance that calls for me to wear over and over again, but once in a while you like that kind of smell. But either way, this is Aura of Kazakhstan, Black Gold. Let me know if anybody knows that brand. It's a fairly new brand for me. I'm not too familiar with it, but that was it was like, I really loved the way it smelled, and it's the kind of smell that it's not like an addicting kind of smell. It's like sometimes there's smells in the world that you like the smell of and you really are craving them, but it's that kind of a smell. So it's unique, dark and smoky and woody and leathery, as I said. So moving on to the house of Maison CRIVELLI, it's Oud Stallion, this one right here. So this is in this green bottle. This is a Harrods exclusive. That's why it's in the green bottle. And I don't know if this will be launched as a worldwide release, but hoping it does. But currently, if you are curious to get this one, you can always buy it from the Maison CRIVELLI website because they do have it there. So this is the second of 3, I believe, fragrances that Jordi Fernandez now has done for Maison CRIVELLI. It might be the 4th. I'm drawing a blank a little bit. The first one was Oud Maracuja. This one is Oud Stallion. And the next one is CUIREE Enfleurage, I think that's what it's called. I can't remember the name exactly. But this is lots of leather with oud, saffron, tonka, cedar, patchouli, cardamom, Turkish rose, geranium, and nutmeg. Yes, you'll notice the Turkish rose, and that geranium is there to accentuate the rose, give it a little bit more of a masculine edge to the fragrance. And this fragrance is uber masculine, by the way. In fact, a lot of these fragrances in this list, leather, woods, to me, scream masculine. So they're going to be very, very masculine. This one definitely is on the masculine side, even with the addition of the rose. Spices are here, woods, earthiness, aromatics, and warmth in there. For me, a lot of the fragrances don't go warm. And even though they might come off warm, even the Aura of Kazakhstan Black Gold, there's not a lot of warm notes. Galbanum, Vetiver, leather, cedar. Maybe the rum accord is a bit warm in there. So a lot of these fragrances are not going to be warm. I don't know if you consider oud a warm note. To me, the warmer notes are like vanilla, ambers, resins, maybe warm spices like nutmeg is featured here. But again, all the fragrances do wear not necessarily very warm. So a lot of warm fragrances I consider inviting. You know, you want them on skin, and a lot of woods kind of tend to be uninviting for me. That's why I've shied away from covering a lot of wood. So here I'm learning these fragrances for you guys, and hopefully you guys will check them out if you're into the idea of woody leather fragrances. So this is Oud Stallion. I prefer Oud Maracuja a little more than that. That one's a bit on the animalic side, just to warn you. A lot of these fragrances will be a bit on the animalic side because leather tends to go animalic. Just being honest about that. But this next one I don't think is very animalic. It's also very easy to wear for a woody leather fragrance. Going to the house of D'Orsay. It's a dandy or not. This one right here. Are you guys familiar with D'Orsay? So this is a very fresh take on a woody leather fragrance. It features loads of orange blossom. There's black tea here, giving you that kind of cozy, smooth kind of a vibe, very relaxed coziness. In addition to that, there's leather accord, cedar, patchouli, cardamom, and grapefruit. So there's fresh spices and lots of citruses and citrus floral notes in here, mixed with the leather and, of course, the wood. So it's, again, next to the two fragrances I spoke to you about already, this is going to be very easy to wear. I don't get much animalic qualities from it, maybe very, very faintly, but it's created in a way that it doesn't overwhelm like the previous two fragrances do. So if the other two fragrances are leather focused and they're also intense experiences, you'll notice the animalics a lot more than this one. This one has the slight touches, but it's so fresh. It's got these kind of fresh, invigorating touches in it. It's easier to wear. But I like this. It's a nice change from more of the beast mode stuff. But then again, it's still leather and woods in the end. So this is D'Orsay's Dandy or Not. This one right here. Let me know if you're familiar with that house. I've done a video on that house. Go check it out. And then this next fragrance is one of my favorites from this house. It's NASOMATTO's DURO. What a great fragrance this is. Even to this day, I've been wearing this since like early 2010s. Still smells fantastic. So it's leathery and woody, but the brand doesn't really advertise the notes for these fragrances. So basically you kind of have to guess. And you know, the experience when you're wearing this does have very leathery touches, very woody touches, and spicy touches as well. And eventually the fragrance does settle to a bit of amber. It's a bit amber, so it warms up. This particular fragrance warms up, but in the end it's once again very leathery, very woody, and also spicy. So in the end you're focusing on these notes, and they're the prominent notes. But this stuff, super fantastic smelling. I really, really love this one. It's one of my favorites from NASOMATTO. DURO is also very, very sexy the way it smells. So DURO, let me know if you're a fan of that one. Put a comment down below. All right, next up, we have a fragrance from the house of Laboratorio Olfattivo, a house I really admire, really enjoy their fragrances, especially Vanagloria. And this is their latest fragrance called AMBERBOMB, this one right here. Are you familiar with AMBERBOMB? This just came out a couple months ago. And it is pretty beastly fragrance. I just think the name is a bit misleading. They should have called it a leather bomb. It's amber. There's ambery touches here. But for me, it's more about the leather and woods and aromatic woods and spices rather than amber. Because the amber, to me, doesn't... is not that pronounced. It's there. It helps the fragrance move along. But we're really swimming in a lot of leather and aromatic woods. Like Nagarmotha is a really prominent note in here. And then patchouli, sandalwood, cedarwood. Lots of woods in this. Really, really extremely woody. So it's basically a combination of leather, which is a bit animalic, but not too animalic. But some of the other notes in this fragrance do create a bit of a funk. I think it's totally wearable. There's something also in the background that is a familiar smell, but it's almost like they created this fragrance to be like faintly gourmand reminder, but overwhelmed with woods and leather. Like something in the background reminds me of some of these gourmand fragrances that I'm familiar with that I really enjoy. It's there, but when you wear it, it wears so different, and I'm not smelling that gourmand touch, which is quite interesting that it invites you in and then you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that kind of a thing, because it's lots of leather. There's lots of it here, along with all the woods and the aromatics. As I said, there's some gourmandish touches in here, but it's just faint. Anyway, this is Laboratorio Olfattivo's AMBERBOMB. Let me know if you've sampled that one. That brand is sold here in the States at in San Francisco, actually, at Ministry of Scent. I'm glad they carry that brand because not a lot of retailers carry Laboratorio Olfattivo. But moving on to the house of Plume Impression, this is Elegance CUIREE, this one right here. Are you familiar with this one? I did a video with Joe on this house. This one was one of our favorites, and it's definitely really one of the best from this house. Really enjoy it. I like the kind of suede, buttery, leathery touches in here with the woods, resins, and something green running throughout it as well. It's faintly hinting at Iris Malikan from the house of MAISON CRIVELLI. We already have a MAISON CRIVELLI in this list. But in the end, it's a buttery suede leather. And then along with resins, there's Juniper here, Amber, Vetiver, Gaiac wood, Patchouli, and Bergamot. So there's some freshness there. It's also easy to wear, but compared to the D'Orsay, this one has a bit more substance. But the fact that it's kind of buttery, suede leather-like, it's a bit smoother and easier to wear compared to some of the other fragrances that are in here. Let me know if you know Plume Impression. Elegance CUIREE is a really great fragrance, but this next one of my favorite leather fragrances out there. It's KNIZE 10 Golden Edition. I've got a little bit left. This is 10 years old almost, this bottle. I brought back from Germany, but this is a Swiss house. And to me, this smells like a vintage leather with woods and amber kind of a thing. Super fantastic. I absolutely love this one. It's super delicious, actually. The leather: Carnation, Castoreum, Jasmine, Cedar, Sandalwood, Oak Moss, Amber, Musk, Iris. There's a very vintage, classic touch about this one. I would picture this, something like this, worn like 100 years ago when fragrance industry was just, you know, starting to develop fragrances and things like that. There's just that kind of a vibe going for it, and whenever I put my nose on this, I subconsciously step back in time of 120 years ago kind of a thing. It's that kind of a fragrance. It transports me, but it's so good, so good. I haven't really experienced the original KNIZE 10, but I'm absolutely head over heels for the Golden Edition. Let me know if you're a fan of this one. It's a super fantastic fragrance. And then next, going to the house of New Notes. This is New Leather. So this is another fragrance house that I shot a video overview with Joe. Go catch that video as well. They have a lot of great fragrances. And this one, once again, we're stepping into suede leather. So suede leather to me, in comparison to leather, suede is more buttery, softer, not as animalic as, you know, traditional leather can be. And this one definitely is that kind of a leather. It's suede accord, saffron, nutmeg, warm woods, cinnamon, gurgeon balsam. So in the end, it's balsamic, warm, spicy, ambery, and then woody leather, and it's really pleasant to wear. And again, the fragrance here is not necessarily going into the animalic direction. For me, it's smooth, it's cozy, because suede leather has that kind of a cozy, soothing kind of a vibe that I really enjoy. If I want something rough, I would go with, you know, your like dark, smoky leathers. But if you want something softer, definitely go with the suede leather, and that's exactly what you get with this one. And the fact that it has warm spices, it has a very warm and calming effect. So this is New Notes, New Leather. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. All right, another new fragrance that I haven't spoken about on the channel before. This is Mayo FUSCIUNI's Last Season, a brand spanking new fragrance. Are you familiar with this one? Now this one's pretty daring. Be warned about this one. To me, it's dark earth and woods with vegetation overgrowth and also a bit rotting. To me, there's a major petrichor smell in here. You smell the earth, but you're smelling the decay of the plants as well, eventually turning into, there's a lot of aromatics here, lots of them. There's pine and things like that as well. And then leather develops with all the woods. And there's also Castoreum and Costus, which are providing us with animalic touches. Very long lasting, very intense. I would use caution with this one because once you spray it on, it's going to stay forever. Plus, it's not one of those woody fragrances that, it's not a gourmand in the end. It's a challenging fragrance, but I wanted to highlight it because, you know, sometimes these kind of fragrances are great to smell and put your nose on and experience. And again, as I said, it does have that kind of an effect, like earth, you know, rotting plants and woods, and, you know, eventually they're just going to blend into the earth. So there's a lot of petrichor, geosmin like smell in here with animalic leather and lots of woods and aromatics together. Let me know if you're familiar with this house. This is Last Season, brand new from Mayo FUSCIUNI. So next we're going to the house of Maître Parfum et Gantier. This is Cuir Fetiche, this one right here. So I should say both of these fragrances, Cuir Fetiche from the house of Maître Parfum et Gantier and KNIZE 10 Golden Edition, do have similarities. So if you have a hard time getting the KNIZE 10, which is quite difficult to get, by the way, not many stores carry it. It's an Austrian brand. I brought that back from Germany like 10 plus years ago. And so, but with the Cuir Fetiche, you get that similar effect and a faint reminder of it here, and it's much easier to get this one. So this is leather, iris, sandalwood, patchouli, amber, musk, geranium, jasmine, ylang ylang, vanilla, rose, and bergamot. It's such a smooth and sexy leather fragrance. Woody, aromatic, spicy, and also floral. All of these come into effect. And again, the vintage vibe happens here as well, and I like that about it. It's not as transportive as the KNIZE 10. For some strange reason, that one transports me, but I really love the way this smells as well. It's a bit different. It smells similar, has similar idea, you know, the similar idea behind it, but you know, it has the vintage classic touches as well, but quite a gorgeous fragrance. This is Maître Parfum et Gantier's Cuir Fetiche, and definitely a top 5 fragrance from this house. I really appreciate their leather fragrance here. I don't know if you guys know this one. If you want to find out more about this house, I have videos on the channel. That's Cuir Fetiche from the house of Maître Parfum et Gantier. This next one, I've spoken quite a bit about this house. This is Javoy's Private Label. One of the most intensely manliest fragrance. It's a very butch fragrance. So if you like butch fragrances, extremely masculine, you got to try Private Label. It's vetiver, patchouli, papyrus, leather, labdanum, birchwood, sandalwood. Smoky leather for sure. Lots of aromatic touches from the vetiver and the patchouli in this. So you've got all those earthy elements as well. It's dark, dry, so it's not a very syrupy sweet kind of fragrance. Just all the notes are extremely masculine, but eventually there is some ambery touches under there to kind of smooth things up a bit, but extremely leathery, smoky, and dry, woody fragrance. Private Label. Again, it's definitely very masculine, so if you're into masculine fragrances, definitely try that one. But the next one is from the house of Tower Perfumes. It's Lone Star Memories, this one right here. Lone Star Memories is definitely one of the best from Tower Perfumes. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. It's quite animalic, it's woody, it's dark, it's dirty, dusty, and ambery with leather, myrrh, labdanum, sandalwood, vetiver, geranium, ambergris, clary sage, birch tar, and jasmine. So this is definitely a very interesting inspiration from when I remember speaking to Andy Tower of Tower Perfumes. I guess at one point he lived in Texas, so it's inspired by the Lone Star State, Lone Star Memories. And there's a lot of horses there, horse riding, the saddle and everything, so the idea of leather is really true here. But it's quite animalic. The thing with this one is interesting. I wore so much of it when I first discovered it. Later it became more animalic. It's strange, right? So it's a bit more daring right now, but at one time it didn't really bother me. So my nose and chemistry has changed. Has that ever happened to you before? It's usually the other way around, where something is a bit too animalic, then you kind of like start enjoying it and embracing it. But this one was the other way around for me, and it has happened with a few other fragrances as well. Something's changed with me, and I like it still, but still very, very daring. So this is Lone Star Memories from the house of Tower Perfumes. And of course, I'm ending the list with a favorite fragrance of mine. I'm trying to keep this list more of a niche list, but this is a designer. But oh my god, it's one of the best designers out there. It's Dior Parfum. In the end, it's a smooth, buttery, leather, iris, powdery, rosy, lipsticky, woody fragrance. Super amazing creation from the house of Dior, probably their best. I hope they never discontinue this. There's rumors out there that it's on the chopping block. And if they do, please move it into the Dior Privé collection. I think it could totally go there. But if you haven't tried this, please do. Recently I brought 2 back, and one for a friend and one as a giveaway. And I ended up paying around 125 euros for each. And the duty-free store had a promotion. It was like 155 or 159 marked each, and there was a discount if you buy 2. So a great price for them. Is still available in Europe. I still find them very rare, but they're still selling there. But again, one of the best designer fragrances ever. This is Dior Parfum. Check it out if you don't know it. And that ends the list. Let me know your thoughts on these woody leather fragrances. Are you a fan? Put a comment down below. What are your thoughts? And do you have any other suggestions for woody leather fragrances? I'd like to find out if you can put a comment down below. And don't forget to catch the previous videos. Woody, a basic general woody list. And then also the woody amber. This is woody leather. Stay tuned for more woody themed videos soon. And I think I'm going to put this as a playlist. You can always go back and watch all 5 or 6, however many videos I do. But if you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Okay, I have a bonus option here. It's a cheapie from a house called Ajmal. It's a Middle Eastern house. It's Verde, this one right here. This has become a great favorite of mine, and you can get it for around $17 at FragranceNet. And it's a great alternative to the now discontinued Noir Anthracite from the house of Tom Ford. For 17 bucks you can get it. It's really an awesome deal, I think. It's galbanum, leather, cedarwood, sandalwood, exotic pepper, warm ginger, bergamot, aromatic jasmine. Really an awesome fragrance. If you haven't tried it and you're looking for an alternative for this now discontinued Noir Anthracite, this will do the job. Just be warned, this is different kind of a fragrance. It's not your traditional everyday fragrance. There's bitterness here, lots of spices. It's woody and also leathery. So there's some animalic, qualities about it. So if you're thinking the Tom Ford Noir Anthracite would be great, I think that was a very polarizing fragrance. That's probably why it got discontinued. I absolutely love that fragrance, and again, the Ajmal Verde is a great substitute for it at 17 bucks. And again, it's a woody leather fragrance. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today. See you later. Bye.